They called it infrastructure failure. The Crucible Sanction answered for 193,000 who burned. The requisition dispute saved my life. 14mm coupling flanges, batch number 7 Cova Sigma, flagged as non-conforming by a quality inspector on Reach Station Voss. My rotation to relay Callaway 7 was held pending parts clearance. 3 days, they told me. Maybe 4. I filed a formal complaint, because that is what you do when bureaucracy costs you a week in deep core relay housing on the wrong side of the outer belt. I was furious. I wrote the complaint in language my supervisor later described as career-adjacent. The parts were cleared on a Tuesday. I shipped out Wednesday. Relay Callaway 7 went critical on Thursday. I know the sequence, because I have studied it longer than I have studied anything else in my life. The Therity trigger was embedded in routine maintenance ping 7 Cova 19, a standard telemetry handshake that every deep core relay in the network received every 72 hours. It looked like noise. It was noise. Except for 11 compressed kilobytes buried in the packet tail, formatted to read as padding by every automated scanner in our network. Those 11 kilobytes told the relay's secondary containment governor to begin a staggered misalignment cycle. 41 minutes later, the primary containment ring had drifted 0.3 of a degree. At 0.3 of a degree, thermal regulation fails. After that, the math is simple, and the outcome is not survivable. 14 stations, 5 worlds, 73 minutes from the first trigger to the last cascade. The Therity Dominion filed each event as a spontaneous infrastructure failure. They issued a statement expressing sorrow at humanity's apparent inability to maintain our own deep core technology to safe operational standards. They offered technical assistance. They sent 3 advisors to the Heron's Point inquiry, who testified with full diplomatic composure that the relay network architecture contained fundamental design flaws they had observed with concern for some years, and that they stood ready to help us build something more robust. We thanked them. We accepted their technical reports. We buried 193,000 people across 5 worlds, and we thanked them. I was not present for the thanking. I was in a hospital on Reach Station Voss, with what the doctors called acute systemic shock, and what I would have called something else if I had been able to speak in those first weeks. 12 of the 14 stations had housed engineering staff I had personally trained. The Callaway 7 crew had been my crew until a quality inspector flagged a batch of coupling flanges. They held the inquiry for 2 years. The inquiry concluded with a finding of systemic design deficiency and a recommendation for network architecture review. I submitted 16 technical objections to that finding. All 16 were logged and none were acted upon. The defector's name was Verthani Kale. She was a Therity signals engineer who had been present in the command relay room when ping 7 Cova 19 was compiled and transmitted. She crossed into human space on a cargo transit 14 months after the inquiry closed, carrying a crystalline data shard no larger than my thumbnail, and she walked into the nearest UEC border station and asked to speak to someone in authority. It took 4 months to verify the shard. It took another 2 months to verify her. When the analysis team released its final report to the Defense Council, I was called in to read it as a technical witness. I sat in a room with 12 people I had never met, and a colonel I had never met read me the 11 kilobytes aloud, and I confirmed, in language that was this time not career adjacent, but perfectly precise, exactly what those 11 kilobytes were, what they did, and what the Therity Dominion had known they would do. The colonel thanked me for my time. I flew back to INS Callaway's Reach the same night. The Crucible Sanction assembled over the following 8 months. 910 warships, drawn from 6 fleet commands. I was not a combat officer. I was a warrant officer, ship engineer, rated for deep core relay architecture and energy system integration. There was no operational reason for me to be assigned to the Sanction's flagship. Admiral Tesh Corvain assigned me anyway. He told me, when I reported aboard, that the strike package had been built using detailed engineering schematics of the 14 relay stations, and that he wanted someone on the bridge who understood what those schematics meant, someone who understood what had been inside them. He did not say more than that. He did not need to. I spent the transit to the Therity hegemony's border reviewing the targeting sequence. 29 installations, 14 deep core energy grid hubs, 9 relay command centers, 6 administrative processing stations, The sequence had been built to mirror the Therathi trigger order, the same progression across the same three-system arc, hitting the installations in the same geographic pattern as Ping 7 Cova 19 had hit ours. The Admiral had not announced this symmetry in the operational briefing. It was simply there, in the architecture of the strike package, for anyone with the technical background to read it. I read it. We crossed the border at 0400 shipboard time, 910 warships, on a heading that the Therathi border stations broadcast as a diplomatic emergency on every open frequency they had. The Admiral did not respond to the broadcasts. He opened a channel, not to the Therathi, but to the Galactic Transit Network, the open frequency archive that every spacefaring civilization monitored as a matter of standard practice. And he read, in full, the Defense Council's formal finding on Ping 7 Cova 19. He read the name of every station. He read the casualty figure from each. He read the Therathi technical reports submitted to the Heron's Point inquiry. And he read Vrathani Kale's account of the command relay room. And he read the 11 kilobytes, translated into plain language. He read all of it in a voice I would have described, before that morning, as administrative. I would not describe it that way now. Then he turned to me and said, "Warrant Officer Oren, you're bored." The engineering display in front of me showed 29 targets in a three-system arc. The first was Therathi Grid Hub Vithera Prime, the largest deep-core energy installation in the Dominion's home system. It was, by any technical measure, a magnificent piece of engineering. I had read the publicly available schematics. I had a professional appreciation for its containment architecture. I entered the confirmation code for Target 1. The strike took 11 seconds. Vithara Prime's signature dropped off the display. I entered the confirmation for Target 2. We worked through the sequence in the same order as Ping 7 Cova 19. The Thara Prime sent 3 separate diplomatic communications during the first hour. The Admiral did not respond to any of them. Each confirmation I entered was broadcast on the Open Galactic Channel alongside the name of the corresponding human station, Callaway 7, Heron's Ridge, Tessera Outer, Voss South, Callaway 11, and the casualty figure from each. 14 stations, 29 installations. It did not balance. Nothing balances. That is not what it was for. By the 6th hour, the diplomatic communications had stopped. The Therathi border commands had not engaged us. I do not know what their admirals told them. I know only what the display showed me, one confirmation at a time, until the 29th signature dropped and the display was clean. The Admiral closed the galactic channel. He sat for a moment with his hands flat on the console. "Log it," he said. I entered the final notation in the engineering record. Time, date, confirmation of all 29 targets. I wrote it in the same format I had used for 3 years to log maintenance cycles on deep core relay stations. The same format the crew of Callaway 7 had used, every 72 hours. Right up until a routine ping told their containment governor to begin a staggered misalignment cycle. The Therathi Dominion had called it infrastructure failure. We called it 29 installations in 41 years' worth of sequence time, confirmed on an open channel where every civilization in this arm of the galaxy could hear it, so that no one who came after them would need a defector and a data shard and 2 years of inquiries to understand what we were capable of, when someone decided our dead were an acceptable administrative outcome. The log entry closed at 0847. I filed it. I shut down my board. Outside the viewport, the Therathi home system was quiet. It has stayed quiet.